signing with the Clippers, and then they traded with OKC to add Paul George. Guys, I'm going to say this, and I know a lot of the times when you see trades or big moves or big signings, the emotional, rush kind of kicks in there and you get a little excited and you go, wow, this team's going to be really good. I think a little bit of happened in baseball when the Phillies got Bryce Harper and everybody they added, everybody was like, this is a dangerous team. And I admit I was kind of looking on them at paper like, well, they're going to be pretty tough to beat. They could be a team to run.
Harper to be MVP?
Yeah, I mean, how he can't hit it in a little ballpark like that is beyond me. That's just, he's overrated.
I picked Twins, by the way.
Yeah, he did pick the Twins. But, it's kind of like that. Sometimes emotion after big moves like that kind of gets you to feel like this team's unstoppable or anything like that. But I don't think that's really the case here. You look at what this Clipper team just did. They added the two best two-way players in the league, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And again, that's not saying the best player, but they're the best two-way players. They play offense and defense and very good at both ends of the floor. And it's not just those two guys who are massive. I mean, Kawhi Leonard this season definitely going to be the second best player in the league. Mm-hmm. Who knows? He could become the top player in the league. I just don't think after a playoff run was enough to put him there for me. But, with Kevin Durant being out, it's going to be Kawhi that kind of moves into that spot. So I'm going to say a top two player and a guy that's outside the top five, definitely in the top 10, but maybe outside the top five with Paul George, but with a supporting cast. You look how deep the Clippers are. It's scary. And I will say this, the league is in a good place because this is not me coming on here and saying that everybody else is playing for second like it has been the last several years. We finally have a competitive balance where there's 10, 11 teams that you could see winning a championship next year despite this kind of move. But right after AD was traded to the Lakers were the Vegas favorites to win it all. I think that's going to change. I absolutely do. I think the Clippers are now the team.
Yeah, it has the books. The books have already changed.
Yeah, okay, they did.
Yeah, Clippers are now number one.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be crazy not to think that they aren't number one because when you compare them to the Lakers, they got the better roster, they got the better coach, they got the better front office. I mean, everything is perfect.
And they're out of the media.
Yeah. And now, here's also another thing, Is the Lakers going to get made fun of here? No, because they got Anthony Davis, and that puts them into the mix of things. But the point is, the little brother has been the Clippers of L.A. They ain't the little brother no more. They're on top. Brooklyn is on top of New York. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to talk about that. Just saying.
Right.
Should, but it won't happen. But it's a scary team when you look at it because they are so deep, and as I mentioned, all those things, they're so... the front office is amazing. Jerry West running the show there. They have Doc Rivers as a head coach. Doc Rivers is one of the best coaches in the NBA. They have the roster. They have the bench. They have all these different options and complements to your two superstars that you have now. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed championship, but if you ask me to take a pick who I think is going to win it all, this is exactly what I said to you guys a couple of weeks ago. Lakers weren't it for me yet. That wasn't it for me. Yeah, it depends on what other teams would do. There are holes on this Laker team, and now there's even more holes on this Laker team because I am still convinced, and I've been saying this all week, and then the national media kind of jumped on it. I heard them talking about it the last couple of days. But I'm convinced that Kawhi Leonard had this planned all along, and sources are saying that he was trying to get, Paul George to basically get out of OKC and join him. Mm-hmm. And he sabotaged the Lakers. Why? Because the Lakers couldn't sign anybody. Because if they sign all these people, they're not sure about what their cap space was, so they threw all their chips in for Kawhi Leonard, right? They're waiting for Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is making it believe like he's going to go there, but meanwhile, the evil genius is really trying to figure out how he can go to the Clippers, build a team that way, and weaken the Lakers because the Lakers couldn't sign anybody. So all these role players that would fit around LeBron perfectly are now on other rosters because they had all their eyes on Kawhi Leonard. Yes, they signed Danny Green, good signing for the Lakers, by the way, but you weaken them a little bit here. Those holes are not going to be filled as great. We're talking about it. Yeah, they can add some nice pieces to the Lakers roster. Who's playing defense on that team? And so Anthony Davis is going to be the only defender you got. Danny Green's a solid defender, but this Clipper team is a better roster, has the better coaching staff, better front office than the Lakers. They're the team to beat. Can they be beaten? Yeah, they can. This is not the same thing as Golden State here. It's different. They can be beaten, but I'd put all my chips in the Clippers right now to win the championship. I would.
I like it.
If you said who do you think is going to win? Not that I don't think that other teams have a chance, but my goodness, the Clippers should win it all. And if they don't, I don't get it because they got everything that you want. You got two-way players. You got everything you want. I'll shut up, and we'll start with whoever wants to talk here. Your thoughts on these trades. Whoever wants to take the floor, it's yours.
I'll go.
There we go.
All right. I'll go last.
The Clippers roster, defensively and offensively, right now is the way it stacks up is amazing. Defensively, you have Patrick Beverley, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, three of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, and the NBA is becoming more of a perimeter-oriented game. And then you add in the fact that you have scorers, Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Williams coming off the bench. It's not going to slow down, and I tend to agree with you. Right now, if I had to bank on a team and was forced to put all my chips in, it's to the Clippers. Wilson Chandler, JaMychal Green, Montrezl Harrell. You got to have some glue pieces, and you saw it this year with the Raptors where they had a lot of guys that kind of just glued around and fit perfectly with Kawhi because Kawhi could score. We all know that, and he could defend the best player on the other team. And there's a lot of similarities with this Clippers team to that Raptors team, and actually, the Clippers team may be better than the Raptors.
But as how deep they are, right?
Yeah. The supporting system they have around them looks to be better, and they may be able to add a few more pieces. I mean, right now as it stands, this is a really, really good roster. Because in the grand scheme of things, you only really need two superstars, but you also look at Lou Williams, man. He coming off the bench, he's not really going to affect the flow of these guys. And you get to the end of the game, and you need a defensive lineup, you could go Patrick Beverley, or you get to the end of the game and you need to score some points and you think it's going to be a shootout, you throw Lou Williams in there, and you got Williams, Kawhi, and PG-13 in there. It's going to be great, I think. I'm interested to see how it's going to go. Of course, everybody's got to stay healthy, but as it stands right now, and the Clippers are nasty.
I'll say this too. I'm hesitant to put all my chips in on somebody that hasn't played a game yet together, and I say the same thing for the Clippers and also for the Lakers. You look at them on paper, the Clippers are a better team. They have better pieces. They have a better defensive lineup. They have a better coach, a better front office, a better owner. I mean, you name it, they're better at almost every level than the Lakers. But I will say this. We need to be careful doubting a player that is LeBron James. I understand you look at the Clippers, they've got a lot. But what we haven't really seen is a peak Kawhi Leonard playing with another player who is not at the same exact level as Kawhi, but we just said it's top 10. We've seen what LeBron can do with other players that are top 10 in the league with him, with small pieces. Now, this is a different beast because the Clippers have a very good supporting cast, but I'm hesitant to put all my chips in on them because I want to see how it all molds out. How does Kawhi play with a guy that's the caliber of Paul George? How does Paul George, does he defer to Kawhi? Does Kawhi defer to Paul George? How does that work? Because you can say, yeah, well, Kawhi played with the Spurs. Yeah, but that was a young Kawhi. That's not the same player that we have now, that we saw win the NBA Finals last year, carry the Toronto Raptors to the Finals. So is Kawhi going to be the guy that is willing to give up the ball late in games if Paul George is is having a better game than him. And really, this all, to me, the regular season, this all goes to the playoffs and how they mold and how they work in the playoffs. And when you get to the playoffs, it's a more defensive game, and I understand that. But I'm not going to put all my chips in yet. I will say that probably 3/4 of my chips are in, but I will say that I don't want to doubt. I don't want to doubt LeBron James and Anthony Davis when you have two of the top 5 players in the league.
Top 10.
I mean, Anthony Davis is up there. That's debatable, but
I think he's in the top 10. I don't think he's top 5.
Yeah, he's not top 5.
who's better than Anthony
You
Davis?
got Kevin Durant,
that's the thing,
LeBron, Kawhi.
Hold on, this year.
Giannis.
This year, that's a good point.
This year.
Because
Durant's out of the picture.
Okay, you could take
But
Durant
I still
out of the
would take. I would have LeBron, Kawhi. All right, 3, Giannis. 4. I would take Paul George over AD. I would.
Really?
I really would.
Paul George was
That's
the
the
MVP
thing.
candidate this year.
Yeah, I would take Paul
Yeah.
George over Anthony Davis. Not less fragile too.
You got Steph Curry and James Harden.
And then that's where it gets tricky.
Okay.
I mean, that's why I would say top 10, but Anthony Davis is on that.
He has the higher ceiling than all of those guys.
It's kind of weird because I can't put him in the top 5, but he's almost a top 5 player.
Right. Well,
You know?
I'm just saying that
I got
you
a top
have
10.
you now have a motivated LeBron James and a motivated Anthony Davis. Probably
LeBron was motivated last year. He
Well, he
said he
got
was
hurt.
in playoff mode.
he got hurt.
Yeah,
He said he was in playoff mode,
And he got hurt. He got hurt. Okay,
No,
you can't.
in playoff
Yeah, it
mode,
was
he didn't
playoff
do it.
mode after his injury.
After his
Okay.
injury, he
And
didn't
then-
do
and then-
nothing.
All right, well,
And then
whatever.
they went
all right?
0-9.
Listen. You have a motivated LeBron James, and probably for the first time in his career, you have a motivated Anthony Davis. Truly motivated
Okay.
to win a
Yeah,
championship.
I could see.
And so when you have two of those caliber players, and I understand Kawhi and Paul George, they're two of the top 10 players as well. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to see. But I'm not going to put all my chips in on the Clippers yet because I just want to see how it molds together, how it all comes together. And we are just assuming it's going to work perfectly.
I think the thing for me is Kawhi's proved that it could work. He's did it with different teams. He went on the Raptors one year.
But see,
it
the
took
Raptors
over.
was by himself, and he
Was
didn't.
it
He
that?
didn't.
He was the
Yeah.
main. He was the main guy.
He was
He
the
was
man.
the main guy.
Without him in the Milwaukee
if
series,
it-
they
I
have
could
no
see. I could
shot.
see that.
There's
but-
other
but still,
players. That's not what
done
he's
it.
saying. But he's saying that if the game's on the line, you need a last second shot. They're not giving Kyle Lowry that shot. They're giving Kawhi Leonard the shot.
Right.
Paul
Right.
George is capable of taking that shot. So that's always a question: who's going to be the man in
Just
crunch
makes them
time?
that much better and deadly.
But
It does.
I think-
It does. But I'm just saying that let's be a little hesitant to just put everything in
Yeah,
on the
I
Clippers
think
because
that
of
is
just who they got. I understand they have two great players, two top 10 players, two great two-way players, and if you look at all the signs, it looks great. But there's a guy that's in the same arena that's the best player in the league. And I don't care if he's 35 years old.
We're not saying LeBron doesn't have a chance. That's why we're
Right.
saying this isn't the same as Golden State giving them a champion. Go ahead and make the ring.
Right.
Now we're not saying that. We know that LeBron can win. That's what I said. LeBron can beat them.
Right.
That's why I said they're not. This Clippers team's not unbeatable, but they, to me, have the best roster right now with what they got.
Yeah.
I think
Does the best roster always win? No, but
I think the thing with the Lakers that's different from the Lakers to the Clippers is the Clippers are the Lakers are held together with Elmer's glue, and the Clippers can be held together with a stronger glue.
it
It's
just
a
feels
stronger
like
core.
the Lakers are now in a scramble mode to
Right.
fill out the holes.
Yeah, if one
and I
thing
just think they
goes-
left a lot of people on the board that are off the board now that they
Right.
should have
If
signed.
one thing goes wrong with the Lakers, if AD gets hurt for an extended amount of time, it puts all the weight back on LeBron like it was this year.
Well, what
I mean,
happens
he
if
was the only
Kawhi
guy.
gets hurt?
Yeah,
Can
well,
Paul,
and that-
can
and
Paul,
that-
can Paul
everybody's in
George
the same
carry that
boat.
load?
Yeah,
Everybody-
everybody's in the same
But
boat.
if Kawhi gets hurt, I think the Clippers are still capable of making the playoffs.
Well, yeah.
And they did this year.
The Lakers aren't.
They didn't this year, and they have. If you
Anthony
take,
Davis has never really truly carried.
I'm not talking about
you know.
that's the thing.
But-
if you subtract Anthony Davis from this year's upcoming,
If Anthony Davis gets hurt and LeBron's playing, LeBron can take him to the playoffs. He can.
he can, but
He can.
They're not going to be a high seed. That's not what I'm saying. But they'll
without
make the
AD,
playoffs.
is the Lakers roster better than it was last year?
Without AD, no. No,
That's
they
what
just
I'm
play
saying.
the way
If
they're
AD is
guys
hurt-
that would make them a little bit
Right.
better. Yeah.
If AD is hurt for an extended amount of time, the Lakers may be in the same boat, fighting for a 7th or 8th seed. I think the Clippers, if somebody gets hurt for an extended amount of time, PG or Kawhi, I still think they could be a 4 or 5 seed.
Okay.
That to me is the
They're
difference
deep.
between
They're
the
deep.
Clippers and the Lakers, where if the Lakers have one piece get injured, it's going to be a tougher road. With the Clippers, they could get there and then wait for guys to get healthy, kind of like the Raptors did. They waited for Kawhi to get healthy.
20
and
games,
they took off.
Yeah, and they were very successful in those games. I'm leaning with you. And I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying don't count out LeBron.
Yeah,
that would be the most.
You can't
count LeBron.
Count
that would
out.
be the stupidest thing in the world to do. But I just look at this Clippers. It's very similar to the Raptors, and I think it's better than the Raptors roster.
Well,
in terms of deepness. And
of course,
that's what Josh
of course.
is saying. I agree with Josh.
But
there.
the key, if AD can stay healthy. He's never proved that he could stay healthy. But
there's a lot of question marks. about this
it's kind of like Kyrie. Kyrie couldn't stay healthy for the longest time, and he finally stayed healthy, and they won.
And what you're questioning is who's going to be that guy. Does that come into play and effect? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You think back from the original big three that we've seen with LeBron, Dwayne Wade. That was the biggest thing. Nobody knew who was going to take the shot. I think that does become an issue for the Clippers, but early on. By the time you get to crunch mode, playoff time, they'll know who they want to be their closer. And it's more than likely going to be Kawhi. And I think Paul George is okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, he deferred in Oklahoma City, but Russell Westbrook did as well.
Right, and to give Russell credit, people criticize him a lot. He did change his game a little bit this year to allow Paul George to do a little bit more things, which is why Paul George was in
the MVP discussion.
It's absolutely, because otherwise it would be Russell Westbrook in the MVP discussion.
Right.
So I do think there was a change there. So I think that he can defer, and it's just this is fun. This is fun because we're talking about several teams here. Usually we're sitting here like, it's over. There's several teams that are in the mix here to win it all. We got to jump to a break and end this segment, but it is a little crazy to see, and it's a good point. You can't count out LeBron.
No, you can't.
But this Clipper team is just it's deep right now. And again, and I hear what you're saying because again, we look at the Phillies in baseball, that deep roster. Everybody, and I shouldn't say everybody, but a majority of people, and again, I'm in this, that's a scary team, and now look at them. They're in third place in the National League East right now,
and
fading, basically. So just because things look like on paper, and you're saying, let's pump the brakes, let's see how it looks first.
Really,
I know it sounds really good.
Both of these teams are paper teams right now.
Right.
They haven't done anything.
Let's see how it goes.
Right.
So I see both points, but I agree with Josh in the outlook that he has with it, but I see your point. You're not completely out of left field here right now. Saying let's pump the brakes and wait and see.
Yeah,
but I can't wait. I just want the league to start.
I want it to start tomorrow.
Because I mean,
cancel summer league. I'll skip the.
I'm going to get NBA 2K tonight.
And I mean, I'll say this too. I know we got to go to break, but like we only mentioned two teams. We're not mentioning a team like Utah,
exactly.
A team like Portland who added Hassan Whiteside, who basically replaced Myers Leonard. And so there's going to be in the West. I mean, the East is the East, but in the West specifically, it's going to be fun to watch. I may even stay up for some 10:30 games.
And then next year, though, when Brooklyn gets their whole team back, you throw them this is going to be legit.
It's going to be awesome.
These teams are going to get after it. I can't wait to see it. But I am a little concerned about the Lakers and LeBron's age because eventually he's going to fall off the table. It's not going to happen this year. But how much longer can LeBron stay really competitive with these top teams? Another year or two?
I mean, it would really. I think for me, he would have to have a really devastating injury for him to fall off. I mean, he would have to tear an ACL or be 45 years old in the NBA for him to lose the. I'm not going to sit here and say he's peak LeBron. Peak LeBron left in 2012, 2013. Right, that was peak LeBron in Miami. That was when he was the best.
He had to change his game.
Of
he
LeBron.
had to change his game. Yeah.
And so that was peak LeBron there. Now, he was great after that, but it's going to take a lot for me to say he's still not the best player. He's not the best player in the league.
He's the best player, but it's just how long is that championship window going to be there? You just don't know with Father Time in the NBA and all that. It's very hard to predict.
He's got to manage his minutes. I think that's the biggest thing. Manage your minutes in a regular season.
Right, and I think that's the most important thing. If the Lakers can build a little bit of a cushion where they know they're not in danger, and that's tough to do in the Western Conference. It's not the Eastern Conference. Where you can be up by 7 games and be good, and LeBron could take a week off.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't do that in the Western Conference.
No. And did the Clippers promise Kawhi that he can have the 26 games?
They can afford that. Maybe not 25 games, but they can afford to give Kawhi Leonard a little bit more.
15,
yeah.
10 to
16?
15.
Yeah, 10 to 15 range right
Maybe
there.
play
be
him
okay.
less minutes
Exactly.
in some of the games.
You could let Paul George take over a night. So that's the luxury there. So
See that.
it's a nice luxury to have if you're Doc Rivers.
And we can't forget Golden State either.
Yeah, that's
You know, that's crazy to
maybe
think about
this
that.
year they're banged up, but when they get Klay Thompson back,
He's coming back
They got
in
a formidable
February.
squad.
they get Klay Thompson back. You think the Warriors are just going to sit back and do nothing? No,
Well, no.
they're playing in some stuff right now too, so they'll be in the mix. But we got to jump to a break. We'll come back. We'll do a very quick score desk. I mean, I'm literally just going to fly through it and let you know what happens. I'm just going to tell you that right now. All right, score desk coming up next here on the Saturday Sports Report.